So, and you'll get better results at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, and to continue on the thread of kind of the psychology of cheat meals and all that, it really sets you up to have a mindset that the kind of the way that you're eating throughout the week or for the majority of the time is like some kind of torturous punishment. Right. And then you finally get this day where you can actually enjoy yourself. And, if that's the way you view, that's your perspective on your day-to-day nutrition, you're never going to be able to maintain that. You can't do it. Like, you just won't. And so the only way around that is to learn how to accept that way of eating as being the norm, rather than being this weird thing that you have to like torture yourself with just so you can earn that one day of donuts. So like any other way, I think is you're just fucking yourself over. But what do we know? Not much. We've admitted that plenty of times before.
And it's funny. Greg and I have talked about this stuff too. It's like clearly we're both in business to do stuff. Like we make our living from the health and fitness scene and all that. But there are some of these, they're almost like unassailable truths that seem to work really well in selling a lot of shit. And like the cheat meal, the cheat day, the cheat meal kind of idea seems to sell a lot of stuff. And it works occasionally, but I in my own clinical practice, like of actually getting in and coaching people day in and day out for years, I just haven't seen it work all that well. And I've seen it create neuroses and problems, but it's not fucking sexy. It's not cool. I can't wrap them, like what we're talking about is like logic and a knowledgeable approach to life versus some sort of flash in the pan, like, hey, the next celebrity diet, and people get all jazzed about that, and they continue to fail in what they're doing and get angry and remain chubby, and the shit that really works is just way less sexy and not all that pizzazz containing, and just kind of where it is.
Yeah, I think that the moment that you plan a cheat meal, you're in trouble. If you can have the attitude where you truly believe in how you're eating, and that it's helping you, it's keeping you healthy, it's helping your performance, your body composition, all that stuff, it's something you can live with long term, then when you come across an opportunity, for example, you come across the nachos in Hawaii, for example, you can go ahead and kick your heels up and eat it and not go home and feel like you have to kill yourself or starve yourself for the next 3 days as some kind of penance for your digression or your transgression, excuse me. And so I think that if you can, again, make that way of eating the norm, you make that the lifestyle, then it's much easier psychologically to accept the occasional cheat meal, or if you want to call it that, rather than planning, okay, every Sunday night I'm just going to, pound 3 pizzas and a bucket of ice cream. And then it just turns into this really weird, kind of sad sort of situation. And I don't, like Rob said, I don't know that people really recover from that entirely.
Can we just even beat this horse even more?
We could, but maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe we shouldn't.
No, if you have another club, go for it.
I got another club. I have a fresh horse and a new club. So this is, I've been thinking about this stuff. Like this is going to be completely far afield. So probably everybody should just turn off the podcast, and I'm just going to keep jabbering anyway. But here goes. Nikki and I were talking about this. So we'll get cable TV, and we'll have it for a while, and we're like, this shit sucks. Like, there's nothing on. All we end up doing is like buying stuff off of Amazon Prime or Hulu or Netflix anyway. It's rare that we watch anything on TV. The main reason why I have cable is so that when my brother-in-law Sean comes to visit with his family, we can watch the UFC. But if I'm home alone, I don't even watch the UFC myself. I'm like, I don't care. I'd rather read a book or drink a NorCal margarita on my back porch and watch the sunset.
How are you supposed to keep up with the Kardashians?
Exactly. Well, and this is some of, and it's hard to put my finger on it. Maybe I'll do a blog post at some point, but people are, part of what the cheat meal is this build up anticipatory thing. And I get it from the whole like dopamine, addiction, excitement, pizzazz, flash, drama. Like it kind of fits into all that stuff. And there's this hope of somehow shortcutting or hacking, as I took a giant piss on the whole hack concept a podcast or two back. It's just all fucking fake. There's nothing real to it, and it's the same deal that drives people to purchase a car that they can't afford, and they're leveraged to the gills to pay for a car so that they got some sort of like status or flash or pizzazz. And this may sound totally insane, but I see these things travel in unison. So, the same thing that gets people fired up about this idea that they are going to be able to, cheat meal their way to a skinny, sexy body is the same shit that's like, hey, baby, you work hard, so you deserve a maxed out credit card and all the car that you can buy and 6 times more house than what you can afford, even though it's at the top of the market and you're going to be fucked soon. It's like this whole thing. And people open their mouths, disengage their gag reflex, and like take it all, balls up into their face. And they're just like, oh God, I'm gagging. And it's like, yeah, you're gagging because you're gagging on a bunch of bullshit. And the media cock that you decided would seem like a good idea. And it's not. And it's just all the same shit. And I guess that's why I get so spun up. Like, it's kind of a chop wood, carry water. And like you find your pizzazz from something besides food and purchasing cars. And like if you work really hard and you just love cars, cool. God love you. That's great. But live within your means. Like the stuff I'm talking about is this consistent behavior where people get themselves in trouble by not understanding their own physiology and our own makeup as human beings. And it's like, hookers and cocaine are exciting. Oh, wow, gee whiz. And it will also potentially undermine your life if you're not smart about how you tackle shit like that. So, I see a lot of this stuff as like a bigger systemic problem where people just spend no time just alone in their own head thinking for a moment about like, how am I living my life? What type of human being am I? What type of relationships do I have in my world? CrossFit HQ recently just had a picture up on one of its videos that they had, and up on the wall of shame there was a picture of Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, and me. And I was just checking this thing out, and I'm just like, what's the internal dialogue with those people? What's going on inside the heads of those people, and what's the imagery that you're trying to portray with this? And it's interesting. There's so many good things to that scene and good things to, society at large and media at large and all the rest of that stuff. But when we start doing really pathogenic shit like that, what's the internal dialogue? And what's the shortcut that people are trying to find instead of just like having some peace within their own skin, between their own ears, and living a good life? But I got to tell you that life isn't the flash, the excitement, the shortcuts. It's work. And you have to find some sort of joy in the day-to-day existence and work. And, the relationships you cultivate and the people you love and the relationship that you have between your own ears. So, okay, that was completely far afield, but...
that was the best question ever.
There you go. Yeah. Our listener, we may end up wrapping up the podcast anyway, because people are like, yeah, I'm done. Those guys are completely, they didn't just jump the shark, but they jumped in the tank with the shark. So there you go.
All right, well.